Why don't light cones get nova flared? I know I just made a video, but yes, I am that bored. Now, to many, the answer may be obvious, however, also to many, it isn't, right? There's a big difference between a casual player who watches videos and someone who, for absolutely no reason, has no-lifed a video game for 2 years straight. So, with my valiant sacrifice, I am here to enlighten you all with my observation. Being that the reason light cones are never going to get nova flared is simply that they give too much value if receiving a nova flare in comparison to eidolons, right? You see, with nova flaring specific characters, usually these nova flares are used to get people into purchasing another character. The main examples of this are, for example, Nova Kafka, getting people to actually invest into Heislands, who was released shortly after. You have the Novas for Jingliu and Blade, turning them completely HP scaling, also made to kind of sell Hyacine a little more, since she was the main driver of making all of these teams function as well as they did. You have the other more notable Novas like Fireflies. Firefly received a Nova, and then, well, actually, Dahlia came first, and then the Nova for Firefly came after. However, Dahlia coming first allowed the Nova for Firefly to help them sell more Firefly copies because of how meta she was, and especially her E2 getting a significant buff, becoming much more useful. That was also there, and people actually invested into E2 Firefly because they saw she's really great with Dahlia right now, right? So that's kind of the gist with normal nova flares. They're basically always used to buff older characters in some way in order to sell new ones. It's the same thing with Welt, believe it or not. Welt Nova, although a very generalist character and usable in a lot of teams, the main purpose of his Nova Flare was to get people more interested into investing into Himiko, since they can be like, oh, RMC is free, Welt is free, and he's in the golden token shop. If I'm close to his E4, that's also a great grab. I can invest into Himiko, and she's going to perform incredibly well, even if I don't have necessarily any limited supports with her. And that's the bait, right? That's the bait. They've already sold you on Himiko the second that you've fallen into this line of thinking, which it's not that it's necessarily a bad choice. In a lot of cases, it actually is the most optimal choice, but they've got you into investing into a DPS, and hopefully you end up spending money for some type of investment in the future because of how strong her personal investment is, right? You can see how much character Nova Flares can do for advertising other characters that buff them. Now let's go to light cones. Are light cones the same thing in the slightest? Absolutely not. They make the game lose money. And the reason for this is, if they were to buff older light cones, especially some of the generalist ones, then you could just use these as replacements for new DPSs of the exact same path, and they can take full advantage of this older light cone, and now their signature light cone is barely better than that one. So it's like, why would you ever pull another light cone? See, this is the problem, at least in Hoyo's eyes, for Nova Flaring light cones. They're way more versatile than characters and eidolons, which are completely locked to just one entity. Light cones can be put, if you have a destruction one, on any destruction character. Harmony light cone getting buffed can now be used on any Harmony character. Elation, Remembrance, so on and so on. So it actually loses the money because your FOMO to pull a specific character's light cone will lessen if they have a great alternative through an older character's light cone getting Nova Flared, which you already own. Right? So, yeah. That's as simple as I could explain it, hopefully, and I hope I was really able to get that across. the rest of this video isn't going to have really anything to do with the title, but more so my own annoyance with the fact that they haven't tried actually increasing the value of the Lycone banner by making it guaranteed yet, despite this game being out for 3 years. I feel like if they aren't going to give Nova Flare Lycones, and Lycones are losing value to Eidolons and new characters these days, it would be pretty good to see them actually change something when it comes to the Lycone banner. And in my case, what I want to see is this Lycone banner to become guaranteed. My logic has always been most people would be willing to spend money in order to get a character than they would a Lycone just by default. So we already know the character banner gets way more sales than the Lycone banner. However, not only this, the Lycone banner is a 75-25. This means that a majority of people who pull on the Lycone banner do win it, and so they don't feel FOMO to spend money in order to achieve it from a loss. That's only 25% of people pulling on a Lycone banner who lose, and remember, the people pull on a Lycone banner are in the minority in comparison to people who pull on the character banner, right? So we're talking probably like 10%, 5 to 10% of the player base at max that might spend some money in order to get a Lycone that they've lost on. And in my opinion, they can match the amount of money that they make off of these specific people by simply just making the Lycone banner guaranteed, further increasing its value as a one-cost investment like it used to be, and it will no longer lose to E1s and characters all the time, because now you know you will get this Lycone if we use soft pity in around 65 to 70 pulls, meaning you are much more likely to invest into the Lycone, since let's say Eidolon, you can go up to 160 plus pulls in order to achieve an Eidolon including soft pity, right? Obviously, if the Lycone is similar, but the worst case scenario is half of that, you'd always rather go for the Lycone. I'd really like to see them add this for the Lycone banner, hopefully soon. Do I think it's going to happen soon? No. I can only really hope for their 4th anniversary, because that's usually when they make like the biggest changes in my opinion. I am looking forward to this game making its Lycone banner guaranteed, because if they don't, I am slightly afraid that their quote-unquote solution to Lycones losing value to characters and Eidolons these days with the existence of Nova Flares is going to be just massively increasing the value of Lycones on top of what they already currently are, with everybody basically becoming a Himiko situation kinda, and that would be the worst case scenario in my opinion. I do not want to see this game go that route in the slightest. I think absolutely the best thing they can do is introduce a guaranteed Lycone banner so that more people are willing to invest into it, and I don't think it would be that much of a loss, if a loss at all, since it's such a minority of people who would lose on a Lycone banner and then spend money, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Hope you all have a great day. Hope you all have a great night, and peace out.